Hey there, and welcome to another deep dive. Ever feel like time is playing tricks on you? Like those long, lazy summer days of childhood have morphed into years that vanish in a blink. We're diving deep into that very feeling today, exploring how our brains perceive time, what makes it speed up or slow down, and most importantly, if we can actually hit the brakes on this runaway train.
What's fascinating is that our experience of time is deeply personal. It's not just about the clock on the wall. It's about how our brains process the flow of moments. And those brains of ours, they're not exactly rocking a simple, straightforward timekeeper.
So it's not like there's a little ticking clock
Mm.
inside our heads.
Not quite. It's more like a whole network of brain regions, each with its own role in this intricate dance of time perception. For instance, you've got the basal ganglia, which acts like a metronome for short intervals. Picture yourself waiting for that red light to change. Your basal ganglia is helping you track those seconds ticking by. And research suggests that dopamine, a key player in the basal ganglia's reward system, might actually influence how we perceive those short bursts of time.
That makes so much sense. If I'm in a rush, that red light feels like an eternity. But what about those longer stretches of time, like planning a vacation or looking forward to a big event?
That's where the prefrontal cortex steps in, our brain's master planner. It handles those longer time spans, helping us anticipate and prepare for what's coming. But here's the thing, the way the prefrontal cortex processes time can sometimes distort our perception, making a wait feel even longer than it actually is.
So if I'm eagerly counting down the days to a trip, it might feel like time is dragging its feet, but then I blink, and suddenly it's time to pack my bags.
Precisely. Our emotions and anticipations can really warp our perception of those longer stretches. And let's not forget about our internal master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SEN for short. This little guy syncs our bodies to the day-night cycle, regulating our sleep-wake patterns, hormone release, and even influencing how we experience the flow of time throughout the day.
Wow, it's like a whole symphony of brain activity shaping our sense of time. But here's the million-dollar question. Why does it feel like the tempo of this symphony gets faster as we get older? Is it just a matter of dwindling patience?
Well, there's a fascinating theory, known as the proportional theory, that offers a compelling explanation. The idea is that each year we experience represents a smaller and smaller fraction of our lives. Think about it. At age 5, 1 year is a whopping 20% of your life. But at 50, it's a mere 2%.
That's a powerful way to look at it. So it's not necessarily that we're becoming less patient, but rather that time literally feels proportionally shorter as we accumulate more trips around the sun. But are there other factors at play here?
Absolutely. As we age, our brains undergo subtle shifts that can influence how we perceive time. For example, we tend to become more habitual in our routines. Think about a child experiencing something for the first time. Their senses are on high alert. Every detail is new and exciting. Those novel experiences get deeply etched into their memory. But as we adults trudge through the same routines day after day, our brains go into autopilot mode. And those memories become less vivid, blurring together in our minds.
So that first day of school for a child feels like a monumental event, packed with new sights, sounds, and emotions, making it feel longer in retrospect. But as an adult, that same commute to work every day might feel like a time warp. You blink and suddenly you're back home.
Exactly. And to add another layer to this puzzle, there's the factor of dopamine decline. Dopamine, that magical neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, motivation, and attention, naturally decreases as we age. And some studies suggest this decline might actually impair our ability to accurately perceive time and form strong memories.
So less dopamine,
Yeah.
less vivid memories, and suddenly, poof, time has vanished. It's like a sneaky magician pulling a fast one on us.
In a way, yes. But it's not just our biology calling the shots here. Culture and technology, those powerful forces shaping our modern lives, play a huge role in how we perceive time as well. Think about it. We're bombarded with information, constantly connected, and expected to do more in less time than ever before. It's no wonder our internal clocks feel like they're spinning out of control. It's fascinating how these external factors can mess with our internal clocks. Take culture, for example. Different cultures have vastly different perspectives on time, which shapes how people experience and manage their days.
I've always been intrigued by that. I've heard about cultures where being fashionably late is the norm, while others run on a strict by-the-minute schedule.
That's a great example. Anthropologists have even categorized these cultural approaches to time as monochronic and polychronic. Monochronic cultures, often found in places like US, Germany, or Japan, view time as linear and segmented. They prioritize schedules, deadlines, and punctuality. Think of a business meeting in New York. Everyone's expected to be there right on time, and the agenda is followed meticulously.
It's like time is a precious commodity, carefully measured
Yeah,
and allocated.
exactly. And in contrast, polychronic cultures, common in parts of Latin America,
Mm.
the Mediterranean, or the Middle East, embrace a more fluid and flexible approach to time. Relationships and social interactions often take precedence over rigid schedules. A meeting in Brazil might start later than planned, with more emphasis on connecting with people before diving into business.
It sounds like a more relaxed, less time-pressured way of life. But honestly, with technology becoming so pervasive, it feels like those cultural differences
Mhm.
are starting to blur. Everyone's connected, everyone's multitasking, and the pace of life seems to be accelerating globally.
You're absolutely right. Technology has become this dominant force shaping our relationship with time, regardless of where we live or our cultural background. The constant connectivity, the influx of information, the pressure to be on 24/7. It's like technology has injected a dose of adrenaline into our collective sense of time.
It's like we're all living in a time-lapse video, constantly rushing from one task to the next, never fully present in the moment. I know I'm guilty of that scroll effect.
Yeah.
When you mindlessly scroll through social media and suddenly an hour has vanished into thin air.
That's a perfect example of how technology can distort our perception of time. We get sucked into these endless feeds of information and entertainment, and our brains lose track of time passing. And let's not forget about the instant gratification factor. Apps are designed to give us quick hits of dopamine, those little bursts of pleasure that keep us coming back for more. It's like we're training our brains to crave constant novelty and stimulation, making it harder to focus on tasks that require patience and sustained attention.
No wonder time feels so fleeting. It's like our brains are being rewired to operate at warp speed. So is there any hope for us? Can we actually reclaim some control over our experience of time in this tech-driven world? Or are we doomed to forever feel like we're racing against the clock?
Not at all. There are actually some powerful strategies we can use to slow down time and cultivate a greater sense of presence. And it might sound counterintuitive, but one of the most effective tools is actually quite simple.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness, like meditation and being present in the moment. I've heard it's good for stress. But how does that help with time perception?
Mindfulness is all about paying attention to the present moment without judgment. And by intentionally focusing on our breath, our senses, the details of our experience, we become more aware of time's passage. It's like we're savoring each moment instead of letting them rush by unnoticed.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling through my phone while waiting in line, I could try focusing on my breath, the feeling of the sun on my skin, or the sounds around me. Exactly. And studies have shown that practicing mindfulness can actually make people feel like time is moving slower. It reduces that sense of time compression we were talking about. And because you're creating richer memories, by being fully present, time feels longer in retrospect as well. It's like expanding your subjective timeline.
That's pretty amazing. So mindfulness can actually help us stretch out our experience of time, both in the moment and in our memories. Are there other techniques we can try? I'm all about those practical tips and tricks.
Absolutely. Embracing novelty is a big one. When we break our routines and try new things, our brains create more vivid memories, making time feel more expansive. It's like adding more chapters to our life story.
So instead of ordering the same takeout every Friday night, maybe I should try that new Ethiopian restaurant down the street, or dust off my old guitar and finally learn that song I've always loved.
Exactly. Even small changes can make a big difference. Take a different route to work. Listen to a new genre of music. Try a new hobby. Anything that sparks your curiosity and challenges your brain a little bit. And speaking of challenges, have you ever experienced those flow states where you get so absorbed in an activity that you completely lose track of time?
Oh, absolutely. Like when I'm writing and the words just seem to flow effortlessly, or when I'm out for a run and I feel like I could keep going forever. Time just seems to melt away.
Flow states are fascinating. They're those moments of deep immersion and focus. We're completely engaged in what we're doing. Time can seem to either speed up or slow down during flow, depending on the activity and our individual experience. But what's consistent is that flow states enhance our creativity, productivity, and overall well-being.
It's like entering a different dimension where time operates by its own rules. But how can we intentionally tap into these flow states more often? Do we just have to wait for inspiration to strike?
The key is to find activities that challenge your skills without being overly frustrating. It could be playing music, painting, writing, rock climbing, gardening, Anything that you find intrinsically rewarding and engaging. The sweet spot for flow lies where your skills meet the challenge of the task at hand.
So it's not just about doing things we enjoy, but about pushing ourselves
Yeah.
just outside our comfort zones to find that perfect balance of challenge and mastery. That makes a lot of sense. But besides mindfulness,
Yeah.
novelty, and
Yep.
flow states,
Yeah.
are there any everyday habits
Yeah.
we can incorporate to slow down time?
Definitely. One simple but surprisingly powerful strategy is to limit multitasking. Our brains aren't wired to focus on multiple things at once effectively. When we try to juggle too many tasks, we end up feeling scattered, stressed, and less productive. And guess what? That stress and mental clutter can actually make time feel more compressed.
So instead of trying to answer emails
Yeah.
while also cooking dinner
Yeah.
and helping my kids with their homework, I should try to focus on one task at a time.
Exactly. Give each activity your full attention. And you'll find that you not only get more done, but also have a clearer sense of time passing. Another great tip is to document your experiences, keeping a journal, taking photos, or even just sharing about your day with someone can help anchor those memories and make time feel richer and more meaningful. It's like creating tangible reminders of the moments that make up our lives.
I love that. It's like building a personal time capsule to revisit and appreciate the experiences we've had. Any other time-bending tricks
Yeah.
up your sleeve?
This one might seem counterintuitive, but embrace boredom. In our hyper-connected world, we're constantly bombarded with stimulation, and we've almost forgotten what it feels like to just be still and do nothing. Allowing yourself those moments of quiet contemplation without reaching for your phone or turning on the TV can help you recalibrate your internal clock, become more aware of time's natural rhythm.
That's a powerful reminder. It's like giving our brains a chance to breathe and reconnect with the present moment. We've covered a lot of ground today. Mindfulness, novelty, flow states, single tasking, documenting experiences, and even embracing boredom. These are pretty amazing tools for slowing down time and creating a richer, more fulfilling experience of life.
Right.
But what about the future? How do you think technology will continue to shape our perception of time,
Yeah.
especially with all the advancements in virtual reality and artificial intelligence?
You're right. Virtual reality, for instance, has the potential to completely warp our sense of time. VR can create these immersive environments that can trick our brains into thinking we spent more or less time in an experience than we actually have.
I've heard about that. Like a 30-minute VR meditation session, feeling like 10 minutes. Because you're so deeply engrossed in that virtual world.
Precisely. And that has huge implications for fields like therapy, education, and even pain management. Imagine being able to use VR to make a dental procedure feel shorter, or to help someone overcome a phobia in what feels like a fraction of the time. But it also raises questions about how these technologies might further accelerate our lives. Will we feel even more pressure to be productive if we can manipulate our perception of time so easily?
It's a fascinating dilemma. And what about artificial intelligence? How do you see AI shaping our relationship with time?
AI is already subtly changing our perception of time. Think about those personalized recommendations you get on streaming services or social media platforms. Those algorithms are designed to keep you engaged, to make you feel like you're constantly discovering something new and exciting. And that can lead to a sense of timelessness, where hours disappear as you scroll through an endless stream of content.
It's like those algorithms are playing with our dopamine levels, keeping us hooked on that feeling of novelty and reward.
Exactly. And as AI becomes more sophisticated, it's likely to have an even greater impact on how we experience time. It could help us optimize our schedules, automate mundane tasks, and even personalize our environments to influence our mood and perception. But it's crucial to be aware of these subtle influences and to make conscious choices about how we want to spend our time. After all, time is our most precious resource.
That's a powerful reminder. We might not be able to stop the clock, but we can definitely choose how we want to experience the time we have.
And that brings us to a fundamental question. Should we be striving to control time? Or should we be learning to accept its natural flow? There's a beauty in the impermanence of things, in the fact that nothing lasts forever. Perhaps by trying to slow down time, we're missing out on the richness of each passing moment.
It's a profound thought. It's like trying to hold on to a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away.
Maybe the key is to find a balance, to appreciate the fleeting nature of time, while also making conscious choices about how we spend it, to savor the moments that matter, while also embracing the constant evolution and change that life brings.
This conversation has definitely given me a new perspective on time. It's amazing how much our perception is shaped by our biology, our culture, and the technology we use. But the good news is we have more control over our experience of time than we might realize. We can choose to be more mindful, to embrace novelty, to seek out flow states, and to simply be more present in our daily lives.
You've hit the nail on the head. By understanding the forces that influence our perception of time, we can become more intentional about how we experience every precious second.
So to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to pay attention to your own relationship with time. Notice the things that make it feel fast or slow. Experiment with some of the techniques we've discussed today. And most importantly, don't forget to savor those fleeting moments. They're what make up the tapestry of our lives.
Beautifully said. Time might be a mystery, but it's a mystery we can explore and learn from.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of time perception. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit mind-bending. Don't forget to subscribe to Deep Dive by FoReel Talk so you don't miss our next episode. And be sure to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on how you plan to hack your time perception. Until next time, keep exploring and keep questioning the way you experience every ticking second.